As technology continues to advance, students and teachers alike are now relying on AI to not only do schoolwork, but grade it as well. That's coming up next on Educated.
Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Why, hello, everyone. I am Katie Petrick, joined by David Fiorazo.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Now, before we get to it, just a little reminder for you out there that Freedom Project Academy, our Judeo-Christian online school, is currently enrolling for this upcoming fall. Now, FPA offers live, anytime, and homeschool courses for our students as little as pre-kindergarten and as big as high school. All you have to do is visit freedomforschool.com and use the code EDUCATED15 to save 15% on all courses. That's EDUCATED15 to save 15% at freedomforschool.com. Well, it is Monday here, and that means we have Matters of the Worldview to attend. David, who are you talking about today?
Well, J. Warner Wallace used to be on Dateline quite a bit, and he's a former cold case homicide detective, but he is in recent years known in the Christian community as really tough on apologetics, and he's an amazing teacher, Bible teacher, and he goes after the evidence. He's got a website, Cold Case Christianity. Him and his son recently wrote a new book called Case Files, and we talked about that, and just a really good interview again with J. Warner Wallace. The website for Worldview Matters, of course, worldviewmatters.tv.
Excellent. I knew I recognized him from somewhere there, but He's the triple C with that book. All right. Well, David, AI, it's everywhere. I'm a teacher. Yeah. I'm going to be the one talking about it. What are your thoughts?
And we're going to be talking, I think, more and more about this because I don't think AI is going away, but there are good ways it can be used and maybe not so good ways, not so beneficial. Let's go to teachers. This is the story. Teachers using AI to grade their students' work. This article sends a clear message. They don't matter and will soon be obsolete. Yeah, interesting. So we're going to come back and talk a lot more about this, but let's watch this video to set it up.
A teacher can give a writing prompt like this to a 7th grade class. What is the primary cause of the American Revolution? Well, a 7th grade student can put that prompt into ChatGPT and it will write an entire essay for them. But a teacher can read that essay and be like, wait a minute, I know that my 7th grade student didn't use the word periphery, but what if the 7th grade student wrote into ChatGPT, write my essay like a 7th grade student? Well, ChatGPT will write it out like this. So there's a lot of reasons for war, but the biggest one is, yeah, it's crazy. It can do that, and it's free, and it's available to everyone. And you can see how this might lead to a lot of cheating, obviously, but also a lot of laziness and lack of critical thinking. So as teachers, we can ban AI, but really we're just trying to ban AI. Kids will find a way. Kids have always found a way. In the 1970s, calculators were banned in most schools. By 1990, almost 100% of schools allowed calculators. AI isn't going anywhere. And so if we still want students to develop critical thinking and work ethic and integrity, we're going to have to change what that essay is about. We're going to have to assign work that either cannot be fudged with AI or even better, takes advantage of the power of AI. Teaching students how to use it as a tool, but not a replacement for hard work and critical thinking. Because here's the deal, AI isn't going anywhere.
Wow.
Correct. He's right. Wow. It's not going anywhere. And what he... Go ahead.
No, when he explained that you can say, explain this to me like a 7th grader, that's pretty amazing. Kids are going to cheat. Kids, a lot of them today, they'll take the easy way out. So this is an English class and things like that, history may be going to be affected the most. Go ahead, Katie, before we get into more, what are your thoughts?
Well, just little anecdotal examples here. This is how you can figure out if your student's using AI, even if they're doing write it like I'm a freshman in high school, is the simple fact that you know your kids, right? If you do enough work in the classroom, you know how each of your students actually sounds. And if they're putting together complete sentences. Because if all the other work they've given you, they start a sentence with, which means, and then they continue on and don't have a complete sentence. And then all of a sudden you're getting work that's turned in, typed, fully like eloquent looking sentences. I'm going to know it's wrong.
Kids, I think kids are, I wouldn't say wise enough, but maybe shrewd enough to take what AI gives them and then go in and change some of the sentences to make it sound more like themselves. No?
David, did you not hear what that man said?
What?
They are lazy. They are not able to critically think. And so it's like it gets played against them. And that's the honest truth. And I've seen it in action from middle school all the way through high school. That is this, like, they can't even cheat well. That's what, it's like they can't cheat well. So I will be spending this entire summer, though, revamping some of my assignments or ways of like getting them to demonstrate their understanding of a given book or like comprehension skills. That's going to make it so AI will not defeat me or my students. So we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that you said the teachers that know their students. And
True.
In some of the bigger cities, bigger classrooms, I wouldn't think the teachers will know them all that well. But one study by the Digital Education Council found that nearly 86% of university students use some type of AI in their work. Katie, we're just in a completely different day and age than what you and I grew up with as far as having to do the stuff on your own, right?
Correct. I mean, I remember when it was, I had Microsoft Word proofread my paper for misspellings, and it's like, is that cheating? Is that being academically dishonest? Or no, they would just put the squiggle underneath my words and be like, go fix it. Now, our students, they purposely put their papers through like Grammarly or various AI actual like sources, and it'll spit back out, well, it makes it look like a human wrote this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the world we currently live in. Like, I was worried back in the day of, are they going to know I used Microsoft Word to, like, I didn't check the dictionary myself. The squiggle line, like, it's a wholly different thing than what we had.
I wish I would, not too far from me, I wish I could get up and show this to everybody, but I have actually an assignment that my sister did in the 1970s. Her first year in college, she wrote it out in cursive, and she had beautiful, beautiful handwriting, and it's graded. And I'm thinking, there was no AI, there was no,
It's up there.
Spell proof, what do you call it?
Spell checker. Spell check.
Anyway, here's what one teacher said, though. One teacher on Reddit said, "You are welcome to use AI. Just let me know. And if you do, the AI will also grade you." She goes, "You don't write it, I don't read it." So I'm not sure if that's the answer, but let's go down even further in this article real quick. Compared to a human grader that grades work, the LLM accurately graded student work just 33.5% of the time.
Yikes.
Even when supplied with a human rubric, the model had an accuracy rate of just over 50%. So if they use it, teachers use it to grade, the accuracy is very low and very questionable. So,
well, and here's what I would say then, teachers out there. Let's combine that Reddit user comment of, you want to turn AI work into me? I'll have AI grade it, with the statistic that, by the way, it'll get it right half the time, or a third of the time, I guess, even if it's using my rubric. But I'm not going to give them my rubric, because that would be me doing more work. And if you're going to just do AI anyway, why would I turn it in, right? So, student, you want to use AI? Here you go. You got a 1 in 3 shot of it actually being graded accurately. That doesn't mean it's going to be graded that you get an A, but accurately. Good luck. Here you go. Roll the dice. If you're going to do something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to get away from this. Not we, you and I, but those that are still in school and those who are teachers. And because you're right, kids will find a way. It's just unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, but we do know that AI is everywhere. And yes, students are using it. We've talked about this many a time. But students they're not even trying to hide it anymore. It used to be kind of like, oh, I'm not gonna, I didn't use it. They're just like, yeah, I used it. We have this next story. A student told the New York Times that AI can become a crutch, actually. Now, he called it addictive and like a painkiller, right?
Goodness.
At first, it can be a tool, but then it becomes more. And so students know that they're reliant on AI, and it's like a drug for them. Like they're addicted to it, right? And that it is here to stay. And I don't know if it's Sinead Bavell, who's the Way founder. It's a company. She's a Canadian futurist, entrepreneur, and advocate for technology, education, and ethics. Said it's a general purpose technology. Wow. Everyone's using it all the time. But she is actually understanding like what is happening. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
When it comes to some things like an essay or coding, AI can often outperform what humans can do. So in many ways, yes, most students are leaning on AI tools. And some of the recent news articles show students are open in telling reporters, yes, we are starting to use AI as a crutch. We are becoming entirely dependent on these systems and outsourcing much of our education to them. Students know that they are now reliant on this tool, and it doesn't feel great. But the reality is, John, AI is here to stay. This is a general purpose technology like electricity. We're going to rebuild our world on top of it. So we have to assume students are using this technology, and we have to test for that knowledge in new and much more challenging ways, right? That is the only way you can prevent cheating, is to assume it's a part of what students do at home, and you test for material now in much more challenging ways, and we foster different types of skills and center different skills in the age of these supercomputers. So it's the challenge is going to be twofold. So there's going to be what I call the cognitive crisis, where skills are going to atrophy because they weren't actually fostered and nurtured in school. And then the confidence crisis, where kids were so dependent on AI that they lose confidence in their own ability to solve problems and to think critically. So the problem becomes twofold and gets magnified. So our only way to face this head on is to design school for these new technologies.
Oh, wait, does that just mean more funding? Because that's what teachers' unions are going to hear. We have to redesign school. Oh, we need more funding. We need more funding. We need more funding.
Of course. So here's the question, Kate. Let's just say they're going to find some compromise. They're going to find some way to use AI, whether that be the students or the teachers, to some degree, not all the time. The question is, will this benefit young people when they get out into the real world, when they go to college or when they graduate from college? Will using AI in class or in all the ways they're using it, is that going to help them in the real world? Isn't that an important question?
Well, you had two separate questions there. You said in college and then after. In college, absolutely they can use their AI. It's an extension of K-12 anyway.
Right.
But coming out of college, then going out into the real world, it's not a matter of, well, they could just look it up in Google. It's that the people are becoming so dependent, addictive. They use the term that it's, the one kid said it's like a painkiller. If you don't get that like dopamine rush from getting the answer using your AI or just being able to rely on something, and you're in a situation at a job where you're face to face talking to another human being, not a computer, and you can't critically think for yourself at all because all you've ever done is figure things out using AI, what are you going to be able to do in that instance? Are you going to become more anxious? Are you going to then blame the world and society for ruining you even more? We already have a generation that is depressed and reliant on their technology. You give them the go for it with AI. We just have to think differently. We being the adults who are still remembering a life before AI, we're going to get to a point where these kids are never going to not have used AI, and then what? Because if old fogies then like me are going to be gone, helping them in how to use it properly, we're all in trouble. Like, we are all in trouble.
I think what that video said, one of the things that she said, I'm paraphrasing, use it or lose it, cognitively and other confidence in your cognitive ability, you're going to lose the abilities to do certain things that the human brain is capable of doing on its own. But of course, the human nature is also to kind of find the easy way out sometimes, I guess, especially if you're a student in K through 12.
And then continued on to college and then continued into the workforce until what? Until they quit because it's too hard. And then we have even more people just living at home with mom and dad. Like, looking, like, extrapolating this idea out of, like, it starts with, I decide on my one English paper to use AI, and then extrapolate that out for the rest of your future, because you can do it and it may not look good. Robert Frost talked about two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and you have to choose your path. Where are you going? We know where he went. But anyway, we have a whole lot more to talk about in this episode, including the Chromebook challenge. Schools alert parents of dangerous social media trend called the Chromebook challenge. Plus, of course, we have our favorite Babylon Bee, and there's a lot of headlines to discuss. We'll be back in a moment.
Catch Freedom Project's lineup of shows daily at noon Central. Starting on Monday, we have Educated. On Tuesday, we have the Dr. Duke Show with Vicki McKenna. Wednesday continues with another episode of the Dr. Duke Show with Dr. Jake Jacobs. Thursday, we have One Nation. And Friday, we wrap up the week with another episode of Educated. Catch Freedom Project's lineup of shows daily at noon Central.
So when the students are not using AI, they're still improperly using technology. And there's a trend. There's always a trend out there. There's a trend on the TikTok that I guess is still around, even though it was supposed to be banned, but now it's back. So whatever. TikTok has a challenge where students it's called doing the Chromebook challenge. And it's using your Chromebook, like, a computer that a lot of schools have Chromebooks for each individual student. And so you take your Chromebook, but you're not really using the Chromebook for what it's meant for. Instead, you're just going to set it on fire. So that's the Chromebook challenge. Let's take a look at what it looks like in action.
What some are doing has local school districts asking parents to talk to their kids about is called the Chromebook challenge, seen in viral TikTok videos like this one. Medford School District sent this notice to parents yesterday saying, quote, "This challenge encourages students to intentionally damage or break their school-issued Chromebooks and share the act online for attention or social media validation." We met some rising Medford seniors who told us they saw videos like this of it being done across the country.
You stick pencil lead from like a mechanical pencil into the charging port and it like blows up your computer.
Now, why would anybody do that?
I don't. They're bored.
The Wallingford-Swarthmore School District also sent out a similar request last week, urging its parents to, quote, "Talk to your child about responsible use of school-issued technology. Chromebooks are district property, and families may be held responsible for damage."
It's stupid, honestly. I don't know. I just feel like, why would you do that to a computer somebody gave you? Yeah. I think it's a privilege that we get to use them, and I think there's no point in destroying something that it's not really you bought yourself or something like that,
Why would you do that? Because it costs your parents money, because, they have to pay for that. They have to pay the school back. Yeah. And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
Well, I mean, David, with all the extra time they have on their hands, because you just have to hit a button for the AI to write your paper for you. Instead, they're spending their time because they're bored, which I went out. That's the reason they're going to say it is, I am bored. Just like the students said, I'm just going to stick some mechanical pencil lead into my computer and I'll video it with my cell phone, and then I'll start a fire, and then I'll put it on the TikTok, and then I'll be cool. And I will have won the Chromebook challenge.
Yeah, I was, though the last two students that spoke, I was impressed with their answers, their responses to this. So, why would you, do that? It's someone else's money. You didn't buy it. I mean, most kids probably don't care because if the school issued it, then it's not your property, right? It's like driving a rental car. You never treat the rental car exactly the same you treat your own car. Well, maybe some people do, but And then the other one said, it's just going to cost more money with your parents' taxes or whatever. Someone's going to have to pay for it. But yeah, most kids probably don't look at that. I think what that first girl said, the honesty of, well, they're bored. Why would they do that? Well, boredom. They're bored. And yeah, a lot of kids maybe have too much time on their hands, and that can lead to things like these stupid challenges.
Exactly. I guess there were 10 incidents of this happening around the DC area in just one school district. And interesting that it's happening around the DC area and all the people who live there. But speaking of the DC area,
Lefties.
I'm hoping that our favorite Babylon Bee has something to say about something happening in DC. I feel like of course the Babylon Bee would, because it is time for us to take a look at all of our favorite satire site, the Babylon Bee.
Here are this week's top 5 Babylon Bee headlines.
All right, guys, you get to decide which one should be numero uno, Queen of the Hive. And we're going to start with, and you can vote, by the way, on Facebook, Rumble. Put your comments there and vote what you think is number 1. Let's start with this one. Trump and Saudi Crown Prince enjoy romantic evening, magic carpet ride for 2. Next.
Aladdin.
Number 2. Trump secures 18 months of free Geek Squad as part of India-Pakistan truce.
Oh, my.
Number 3. Jake Tapper uncovers startling evidence that Biden's decline was covered up by Jake Tapper. Number 4. DNC to remove David Hogg after realizing he's David Hogg. And well, so far that got the biggest laugh from you, Katie.
Yes.
Number 5. What about this one? Letitia James hides from Trump DOJ by painting herself bronze and standing very, very still in Times Square. So now we've got to find out what our viewers think. But Katie, your laughs kind of gave you away. What one do you think? Go ahead.
David Hogg. Anything to do with that. That insipid.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, DNC to remove David Hogg after realizing, oh my word, it's David Hogg. I guess I should have been more surprised when they voted him in as the vice chair, but the fact that they're voting him out is chef's kiss. It's just
what could go wrong? Let's have this guy run the. Anyway, so
what do you think
me. Yeah, I've got to go with number 3 because Jake Tapper and the idiots in the media.
Yeah,
they still have not. I mean, very few have said, yeah, I kind of covered for the guy. I kind of protected Biden and deceived the American people. More importantly, number 3, gotten so far away from the principles of journalism that it's not even journalism anymore. But I digress. Jake Tapper. Now there are a couple of them that are writing a book on it. Oh my goodness.
Of course they're writing a book. Bills got to get paid. We got to pay our bills, David.
I mean, people that buy that garbage to find out what. I mean, so Tapper was in on it, and then the major networks.
My question is, will AI actually be writing said book? It might happen. That's all I'm saying. All right.
So mine would be number 3. So we'll have more satire next time. Yep.
Excellent. All right. Well, hey, we are going to be back again on Friday at noon Central for another episode of Educated. Now, for David and myself, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for supporting what we do. Until next time, stay educated.